Hello again, it's Carolyn, and today we're talking about logical thinking. Now you see at the top of the screen that we've put type 1, 2, and 3 in quotes. And the reason they're in quotes is because they don't really exist in the literature. That's something I just made up, as you know, to teach you about different kinds of logical thinking. Remember, we used the analogy of going on a vacation. And so the type 1 logic, or the logic that we often see in logic models, is where are we going? Why are we going there? So if I have these resources and I do these activities, then, I'm going to be able to get to my destination. It's the logic that thinks about where we start, where we end, and as we talked about in class, we usually start that thinking with the end in mind. Where do I want to go on vacation? Why do I want to go there? What do I want to get out of it? And so on. And so this is not unfamiliar. This is something that many of us, if we're comfortable with logic models and logical thinking at all, will be comfortable with, because this is the traditional way of thinking logically about programs. But as we think about building programs, we have to understand that there are other really important things that we need to consider, not least who is going to be involved in this program. So as we are thinking about this project that we're developing, we're not just thinking about who we're serving as clients or as recipients, but we have to understand that this program journey that we're taking involves people. Sometimes it involves people because they're partners who are going to be coming with us. They're coming with us on this program journey. They're helping us implement this whole thing. Sometimes they're people who facilitate our journey. So they may say, for example, if we stay with the vacation analogy, I'm going to make this vacation possible for you because I'm going to lend you my house, or I'm going to lend you my timeshare. Or I'm going to say, I'm not going to lend you anything, but I'm going to look after your pets and I'm going to water your garden while you're away so that you don't come back to chaos. Sometimes, for example, they may be people who make our lives easier because when we come back from vacation, we don't find when we get to work that we've missed deadlines and there have been crises, because they are the people who say, while you're busy with your vacation project, I'm going to be helping control the emails or control the supervision or control the administration of other pieces of your work. So every time we think about developing a program, we have to think about not just what we'll do in our own little vacuum by ourselves, but who is going to help us, who could help us, and what those partnerships could bring in terms of resources and opportunities to make this program feasible. Now, unfortunately, there are also people who are going to be problems. People who don't want you to go away on vacation and have a nice time. People who are just going to continue to try and distract you or put things in your way as you try and implement your program. And so we need to think about these people too. And the logical thinking about who should I be working with, who should I be considering, why is this partnership important? What would this partnership bring to this work? Because sometimes, remember, partnership is a lot of work in itself. That kind of thinking is a thinking that I call type 2 thinking. And it's very, very important. Now, as we make decisions about each step of our program, we sometimes make decisions that are really not about this big picture about where are we going on vacation and why, and who's coming with us and why. But sometimes there's sort of individual choices that we make about each of these steps in this program journey. Let me give you a real example from travel and a real example from work. So from travel, we might decide, are we going to pack drinks and food and take it with us each day so that we don't have to stop as often? Or are we going to stop and buy food? Very simple decision, but it has implications in terms of how much money you spend on the trip, how much time you use stopping to get food. And so even though it's not a huge decision, it can have, over time, those sorts of decisions can have an impact on your program. Now, in a real setting, we could make a decision such as, are we going to offer this service free? Or are we going to ask somebody for a small contribution? Will they value it more if they give us a small contribution? we might decide, are we going to distribute our educational materials on paper, or are we going to think about using them, remotely, or are we going to just have them be available on the internet? Even small decisions. I think an example I shared with you in class is when I started working with partners in my community in Baltimore County, many of them said to me, I'm happy to print off these materials and share them, these informational materials, and share them with my clients or the families of the children that I'm caring for. But I don't have a color printer. So if you want me to print these off, I need to have something that's going to look great when I print it off in black and white. And so I made a deliberate decision in my program that anything we developed, even though we often developed in color, had to look good in black and white too. That's a type 3 decision. It's really not about the knowledge change. It's really not about the final outcome, but it's about these key decisions that are important. And as small and insignificant as these things seem, they can be critically important. Let me give you one final example. I told you that I've made so many mistakes in my career. That's how I learned so much, was by making all these mistakes. I will never forget one time when I was working back in South Africa, and we were holding some community groups. And the first rule of community groups is if you feed them, they will come. And the members had told us that they would like pizza. It wasn't as common there as it is here, and so they said they would like pizza. And I asked one of my colleagues to organize pizza for the focus group. But what I didn't say is make sure that it's vegetarian. I assumed that she would know that because we were working with this particular group of the community, a devoutly religious group in the community, that they would not eat meat, they were vegetarian, and they would be offended by anything with meat on it. And so, guess what? When we opened up the pizza boxes for our community discussion group, at least half of the pizzas had pepperoni on. So not only was it meat, but it was also pork. Deeply offensive, deeply unnecessary, and if we had just thought to take care of those tiny little type 3 details, we wouldn't have made that mistake. So I hope this helps. I'm not going to go into lots of different examples because I think I've talked to you enough, but I hope this helps you understand how important it is not only to think about the big picture of the big things that we have to do in order to get the big outcomes, but also to think about the little things we need to do to get the small outcomes, and most importantly, to think about the people that we're going to be working with in order to achieve anything at all. I hope your program journey is a smooth one.